Hello there, Stefanie, your mama mentor, back again to help you out with a few more tips on potty training. All right, so if you've never met me before, let me introduce myself. I am a mom of two, and I have a master's in medicine, and I am on a mission to bring joy and confidence back into parenting. It's so nice to meet you, and I'm glad you're here. Like I said, let's talk about potty training. Woo! It's like this big scary thing to say, right? But honestly, while you're in it, it is the biggest pain in the tuchus, pun intended. But once it's done, it's like, oh, why didn't I just try sooner, because most kids are ready before we're ready, honestly. They're ready to go and we're just dreading it so badly we don't start. So I will tell you that with my first and potty training, I was completely overwhelmed at the thought. I didn't even know where to begin. So I picked up a book called Oh Crap, Potty Training, and that is what I mostly used as my guidelines for potty training my firstborn. Now, I did deviate a little bit, and I'll tell you where I deviated from what they recommend, but we'll kind of go through their steps, and I will again tell you where I deviated from their plan and what worked best for me. It may be completely different from what works best for your child, but again, it's nice to have some little tips and tricks and deviations, some ideas here and there of where you could do things differently that may work better for your child. So we'll dig right into things. So the first thing people want to know is, when do you start potty training your baby? How old should they be? Well, the average is somewhere between 20 and 30 months old. With my first, we started trying to truly potty train her at about, I think it was right at 20 months, and it was just a little too early for her because I was pregnant with our second, and so I wasn't super consistent, and therefore that confused her a little bit. So the biggest thing I will say is, no matter when you do start, it's really about being consistent. And also, you should wait until your baby is showing some signs that they want to start potty training, because if you try to just force it on them, more than likely it's just going to turn into a battle, and it's going to turn into something they're afraid of, or that they challenge you on. So some signs to look for that they're really ready to start potty training are these: that they're interested in the toilet. So like when you go to the bathroom, they're very curious. They want to watch you. They want to help you with the toilet paper. They're asking to look in the toilet or asking what mommy's doing. Things like that. They're showing their curiosity about the toilet and how to use it. They're aware of when they're going poop or pee. So a lot of children, you'll start to notice that they go to a certain spot in your house when they're going number two, because they know they have that feeling, and they start to feel like they need to hide the fact that they're going number two in their diaper. So my firstborn would walk behind our couch and go in her diaper, and my 2.5-year-old, who were kind of starting training, he will pull down his pants. So he'll be wearing shorts or pants, and he'll pull them off when he's ready to go to the bathroom, but he'll still go in his diaper. So he obviously knows that it's time. He just hasn't correlated that he needs to go to the toilet yet, right? Also, when they can get themselves dressed or undressed. So it's really important that they're at a stage where they can at least pull their pants down, because obviously to get on a toilet, it's really important that you can get your pants off in order to sit down and go to the bathroom. So when they're able to start dressing themselves or undressing themselves, this is a good time as well to start. They can follow simple instructions. That's another big one. So you want to be able to communicate clearly with your child, and so if they're not at a point yet where they can understand the things you're basically trying to tell them, well, it might be a little too soon. And also, if they don't like wearing a wet or soiled diaper. So my youngest, as soon as he goes number two, he wants to take his diaper off. So not only is he aware of when he needs to go to the bathroom, but he hates the feeling of it in his diaper. And so he will rip that puppy off even if I'm not around, which is not good, right? So this is a clear sign that they're really ready to start trying to use the toilet. Now, I will say that although all these signs obviously are very helpful for when to start your child in true potty training, I will mention that it is also kind of important to start introducing this idea to them really, really young. So what I mean by that is every time you go to the bathroom, say, hey, mom's got to go pee, or mom needs to go poop, or mom needs to go use the toilet. You know, whatever verbiage you want to use is fine, but let your child know, like, so they get an idea, like, hey, this is how often a normal person goes to the bathroom, and what does she mean she's going to the bathroom? You know, if they're old enough to kind of understand what's going on, take them with you and sit them in the bathroom on the floor with a toy while you use the bathroom. I know this sounds crazy and kind of inconvenient for you, but it really does help them to get used to this kind of rhythm and flow of life and the things that come along with being a big girl or a big boy. And so they kind of get an idea that this is something that happens on a regular basis, and it's totally normal and it's fine. There's nothing to be scared of, nervous about, afraid of, you know. It just kind of gets them connected with the idea of it. Just like they sit and watch you cook or you know, help you clean or whatever things you have them do in the house. This is just another one of those things, and it's totally normal, and you want them to know that. So when they're super young, you can start bringing them in the bathroom with you and just have them sit there. You don't have to explain the process, but just have them be aware that it's happening, right? As soon as they start showing that interest in the toilet, which for some children is as early as 6 to 9 months, then you want to start kind of introducing the idea of sitting on the toilet. So for us, we got off of Amazon one of those toilet seats that has the baby-sized seat built into the lid of the toilet. So and it's magnetic, so you lift the toilet seat up, or the lid up, and then it's magnetic. You just pull the baby seat down so that they can't fall in, right? It's just a littler hole. And we got a step stool for them to get up so they could reach the toilet on their own when they were ready. So what we would start doing is, when they were showing interest in the toilet, the first thing you should do is just like, do you want to sit on the toilet? And ask them. And usually the first couple times they're like, or they're super excited, and then you get over there and they're like, oh, no, don't put me on that thing, right? Because it's a hole and it's scary, and you know, where does the hole go, and why is there water in there, and all the things they probably think, and it can freak them out a little. So don't force it on them, but start asking and kind of introducing the option that, hey, this is something you can try if you want. And if they don't, no big deal. Just, okay, well, go get lunch or do whatever, go play in your playroom, no big deal, right? Just make it kind of a nonchalant type question. And at some point they will say yes, and just sit them up there fully clothed, just to show them that there's nothing to be afraid of. So that's the first thing we want to do, is get them over the fear of what a toilet is and what if I sit on it, what's going to happen, right? So just leave them fully clothed and just sit them on the toilet and say, do you want to pretend to go pee? You know, and just pretend, and maybe give them a square of toilet paper and like, this is how we wipe, and let them put it in the toilet, let them shut the toilet, let them flush the toilet. Get them used to the idea of what happens, what sequence of events happens when we go to the bathroom. After they're comfortable, you know, maybe even getting up on the toilet on their own, fully clothed, then take off their pants so they're just in their diaper, and sit them on the toilet. Once they're comfortable with that stage, then take off their pants and their diaper so their bottom is completely open to the toilet, and let them experience sitting on the toilet bare bottomed. Once they're comfortable with that, then it's quite a bit simpler to get them to potty train, because for a lot of children, the biggest hurdle is the fear of sitting on the toilet. So if you start far before they're even ready to potty train, around 9 months to a year, somewhere in that range, and actually some kids will potty train really, really early, but for the typical baby, it's closer to the 2-year mark that they start this process. If they're already comfortable with the toilet and sitting on it bare bottomed by the time they're a year old, you've already crossed over several hurdles in your battle for potty training. So that is one thing we did with our kids, and that neither one of them are even a tiny bit scared of the toilet. It's just a matter of, you know, them wanting to do it. It's their idea at this point. So with Oh Crap Potty Training, the book, they have blocks, they call them. There are 6 blocks. I'm looking at my computer screen so I don't mess this up, you guys. There are 6 blocks that they follow. Block 1 is using the toilet naked. So they recommend for the first couple of days of potty training your baby. And by the way, this book is available on Amazon, but it is also available free in most libraries. So go check the book out at your local library if you have a library card. Super simple and free to get this advice. But they start by having the baby completely naked, or at least from the waist down, right? So you're gonna need to stay home for these couple of days, obviously. And the idea of having them naked from the waist down is that they get used to the idea of correlating the feeling of I need to go to the bathroom with what's actually coming out, right? So a lot of children, the major hang up for them is that they don't quite understand, and it's especially hard, I think, for little girls. This could be my own assumption, but because with little boys, it's very clear where the pee is coming from, right? But for little girls, it's a little less clear to them, but they can start to associate, okay, I get this feeling like I need to pee, and then all of a sudden this liquid is coming out between my legs. Oh my gosh, like, what do I do? And that's when you say, oh, let's go to the toilet, quick, you know? The key here is don't scare your baby. Don't be like, oh my gosh, you're peeing, you know, like don't freak them out. Oh my God, I'm peeing. Make it kind of exciting, like, oh, you're peeing, let's go to the toilet, and run them to the toilet and sit them down. And for the first couple of days, I'll be honest with you, very little makes it into the toilet. However, they will get to a point where they start to notice that they're feeling that feeling, and they'll go running for the toilet. And they won't make it for a little while there, but then they will start making it, and most of the pee will get in the toilet after just a few days of consistent work and effort. One thing that Oh Crap Potty Training recommends that I did not do was the little miniature sized portable versions of toilets that you could either sit around the house in different rooms or next to your toilet in the bathroom or what have you. I personally just put the baby seat on the toilet and the step stool and just had it there at all times so that when they needed it, it was there. I was not personally interested in having to, you know, potty train my kid on what I consider to be a fake toilet and then later have to deposit all that stuff into a regular toilet. That was a step I was not willing to do. That's a personal preference for you. You can do either way, but I just went straight to our regular toilet. And like I said, I had prepped our children in advance when they were far too young to start potty training of what a toilet is, not to be afraid of it, to be able to sit on it and all those things. So I think that really helped in not having the little miniature sized one nearby. The one positive side to having one of those toilets is you can have them, let's say, have one in the kitchen. So if you're mostly in your kitchen during the day, you don't have to run your child through the house peeing all over everything to your bathroom. You can just have your portable one right there in the kitchen, you know, and just sit them on it real quick. So it could lessen the mess, but in my opinion, it just wasn't worth it. So that's up to you. Now, block 2, once they get used to the idea of, okay, I have a feeling this is happening, I need to go to the toilet, then you go commando, meaning no underwear. So you just put them in pants. Now, again, I skipped this stage with my first, and my second is kind of in this weird interim, so we haven't really gotten to this place yet, but I put underwear on my firstborn with pants. I didn't do the commando thing. The reason I think they suggest this, if you read in the book, I believe is because 2 layers is harder to get off than 1, right? So when you're in a hurry and you're gonna pee your pants, it's easier to just whip down some drawers and sit down. And I think that's the idea behind this, is your child just learned this whole, like, I gotta pee, get to the toilet thing, and the less there is in the way, the better. So they recommend no underwear, just pants, and that way it's easy to get them off and get on the toilet and have less accidents. The third block is leaving the house. Now, this one, honestly, this one took a while for us. In the book, I believe they say by about the first week, you should be able to practice leaving the house with your child without a diaper on. Now, they recommend in the book, if I recall correctly, bringing your portable little miniature toilet with you in the car. And that way, if there's a need to go to the bathroom while you're driving, you can pull over in the nearest safe spot. whip out that little potty right on the side of the road and just have them go there, and that minimizes accidents overall. But I didn't do that. So it took us a little longer to get to this point where we could leave the house without a diaper, because we really needed to make sure our daughter could get through at least a short car ride into whatever location we were going to before she needed to go pee again. I won't lie, we had a couple of instances where we pulled over on the side of the road and I just held her, held her up while she peed, and I didn't have a portable toilet. So again, completely your choice, but leaving the house is the next step. So you want to plan very short, manageable trips. And of course you want to bring a change of clothes and, all of the things. The fourth step, or the fourth block, is wearing both underwear and pants. Again, I skipped the stage without the underwear, but this is the book. They're saying at that point you put them in underwear and pants. Then the fifth block is self-initiating, so where you don't remind your child anymore to go to the bathroom, but they just kind of remember themselves. They're getting to that point where they can kind of do it themselves. And the sixth block is night and nap time training, which in our experience took the longest. It wasn't as terrible as everybody thinks it is, but it definitely took the longest. I will say, oh, I just lost my train of thought there. With reminding your child when to go. I recommend 20-minute intervals. So if you were to time it out when your baby is like naked below the waist, or if you just were to check their diaper over and over and over and see how often they are peeing, it's almost always about 20 minutes. So I would start by 20-minute intervals. Set a timer and tell your little one, every time the timer goes off, we're gonna go to the toilet and we're gonna try to go pee, okay? And they'll be like, and they'll be playing or eating or, whatever. And the timer will go off and they'll be like, Mom, and they'll get mad at you for having to go to the toilet. But it helps them to understand that, when you get a feeling, you go to the toilet. And until you can understand what that feeling means, we need to just go to the toilet anyway. So I recommend 20-minute intervals. You can always adjust it up or down if your child tends to pee more often or less often. My firstborn, we adjusted up to about 30 minutes, and my secondborn is about 15. Now, there are some caveats to this. My firstborn was super easy to potty train, and you will find that every kid is so different. So all these little tidbits of advice may be super useful or may not apply to your child at all. But I'm trying to give you the most common things so that you know what to expect. So with my firstborn, super easy to train. We went every 30 minutes, and when I'd ask her to go pee, she would make the effort to go pee on the toilet, and we did a reward system, and I'll talk to you about that in a second. And she just really caught on to that quickly. And then with going places, we would take like short 10 or 15-minute drives to places, and then when we got there, we'd ask her, do you need to go to the bathroom? And she would tell us yes or no. At first, we just made her go until we knew we could kind of trust her to tell us yes or no. But anyhow, with my second, so we take him every 15 minutes, and he thinks it's funny to withhold, and then as soon as he gets off the toilet and walks around the corner, to pee all over the floor. So there's that. You will find that this happens a lot, not necessarily with boys, but with ours it was the boy. And so I will say, when I was training my first, it was totally different than when I was training my second. As a first-time mom, I was quite impatient, and I want to really emphasize that it's important not to punish your child if they have an accident. I wasn't the best at this. I will be completely honest. As a first-time mom, I wasn't the best at this. I would get upset. Internally, I would feel upset when my little one would have accidents, especially when she had just been on the toilet, and then, 2 or 3 minutes later, she's peeing all over the couch. I'm like, why? We were just on the toilet. And I would just get so upset. And I would try not to actually take that out on her. But I'm sure she could see my frustration and that I was, unhappy with her. And so I'm sure that wasn't the most pleasant experience for her. But so it's really important to emphasize that you just can't get mad at them. You might feel it inside, like, God dang it, I just cleaned the couch and now you've peed on it again, you know, like it is frustrating. But you really have to try to keep that fire that you feel of like, why am I cleaning this for the 18th time today, to yourself, because this is something they're learning. And if you think about some time that you've had to learn something, did you learn it just like that? Boom, like first time, no problem? No, most of the time when you're learning something, it takes multiple times to learn it. And this is no different. And they are not trying to upset you. This is just a new experience for them. So you really have to take it as such and kind of just laugh it off to yourself. And, you know, just give them the kudos where the kudos are deserved. Like if they try to get to the toilet and they don't make it, say, hey, you know what? You tried, and that's great. You ran for the toilet, and I'm really proud of you because you really made the effort to get there on time, and you just didn't make it, and that's okay. We'll clean it up. Everything can be washed. No big deal. And we'll try again next time, okay? You know, things like that. You just really want to make it kind of lighthearted and not scary for them and not stressful for them. You don't want to put too much pressure on them. Just try to make it as kind of like, we're just going to do this. We're just going to try to go pee right now, okay? No big deal. If you can't go pee, we'll just try again in a little bit. You know, those kinds of things. Just very low pressure, low key. And you'll get better results that way. The more you're like, come on, pee, you're sitting on the toilet, pee, you know? I mean, think about if you had somebody sitting next to you going, pee, damn it, pee, you know, like it would be really hard. You get a little gun shy, you're like, I can't do it. So keep those things in mind. And then as far as a reward system, completely personal preference as a parent, what you want to do. But for us, our little one, our first one was super motivated by gummy bears. So we would give her one gummy bear every time she would successfully make it to the toilet and pee or poop. And then once she was really good about going number one on the toilet, then we just said, you'll get a gummy bear for doing number twos. And we did that for a good while, actually, until she was super, super consistent. And then we said, okay, you know, we're going to take away the gummy bears. You can get gummy bears for something else. And we came up with some new reward system for something that had nothing to do with potty training, just so she could continue to earn her gummy bears some other way. But she was very motivated by gummy bears, so we'd do one gummy bear. When she was first starting, I think we did 3 just to like really incentivize, like, hey, if you pee on the toilet, you get 3 whole gummy bears, you know? And then as she got better at it and was doing it more frequently, we were like, okay, 3 gummy bears a pop is a lot of sugar. So we brought it down to 1, and then we took it away and only did number 2s. Got a gummy bear and so on. And so that's completely your choice. Our youngest is more motivated by piggyback rides and small pieces of chocolate. So we incentivize in those ways. And it doesn't have to be food. It can be anything that your child really is incentivized by. If they're, you know, love piggyback rides or love going on walks or taking a bath or, you know, whatever things it is, getting a toy at the store, whatever you want it to be. Give them a little incentive. I believe in the Oh Crap potty training book, they recommend doing a chart with stickers that you put next to the toilet or on the refrigerator or like on the bathroom mirror where they wash their hands or wherever you want it. And when they go, you put a sticker, and then when they get, I believe it's 5 stickers, then they get a prize of some sort. Something like that. So it's really up to you how often you want to give that incentive and what you want that to be for them. But that typically does help them kind of get on the mindset of like, hey, if I do this, I get something I want. And so this is worth doing over and over and over again. I hope that these steps have helped you and motivate you to just jump on the bandwagon and get her done when it's time. It really isn't as bad as it seems. Honestly, I just tried to keep our kids off of the things that were hard to clean when they were potty training. So like off of the couches, I would just have them sit on the floor on a pillow or on a blanket until they were a little more reliable. And then they could sit back on the couches. And I know that sounds terrible, but it's only for a couple of days that they're super duper inconsistent typically. And then things get a tiny bit easier the 3rd through 5th or 6th day. And by the first week, if you're really, really consistent, most kids, if they're ready to potty train, by the end of the first week, they're doing quite well. I mean, they're still having accidents, of course, because it's only been a week, but they're doing significantly better, and they're much more trustworthy to like leave them alone for a minute and not have them soil anything. So I really hope that helps. Oh, and I wanted to mention one thing that a lot of parents question, and that is whether to use the, what are they called? The potty training diapers, the pull-ups. I read when I was potty training, and my personal belief is that they're a waste of money and a waste of time. The reason being is that they still feel a lot like a diaper to your baby or to your child. And so it really kind of confuses them, because although they do make the baby feel more wet, or the child feel more wet than a regular diaper, they don't absorb the same, so your child is more uncomfortable. It still kind of sends this mixed signal of like, am I allowed to pee in my pants or am I not allowed to pee in my pants, right? So we completely skipped that step. We did not do pull-ups at all, and we were really successful without them. Now, some parents only use them for their overnight training, because that's a much bigger step to go, you know, going a couple hours without peeing versus going all through the night without peeing. That's a big step. So for some parents, they do that transition for the overnights, and I think that's reasonable. I'm not judging. It's completely up to you. We personally used reusable diapers. So what we did is we just put one microfiber liner in our reusable diaper and put it on our firstborn when she was overnight training, because they don't absorb well, or excuse me, they absorb well, but they don't hold the moisture. So she would feel very, very wet very, very quickly. And that prevented some leakage. I still had to change sheets a lot, but it prevented some of that leakage onto the bed. But it also gave her the clear signal that, oh my gosh, I peed myself in the middle of the night and I need to get up and go to the bathroom and do something about it, right? So that is very similar to a pull-up diaper. So overnights, I can understand it, but during the day, in my opinion, save yourself the trouble and don't confuse your child. Just go straight for the toilet and, you know, commando or pants or underwear and pants, whatever combination works best for you. And just get it done. I know it's miserable for a few days for you as the parent, but really, honestly, it is a quicker, cleaner break than trying to do the pull-ups in between. I hope this has helped. And if you have any questions that I didn't answer, you did pay for this video, so please feel free to reach out to me and get those clarifications that you need. This is all for you. So you can reach out to me on Instagram at YourMamaMentor, you know, shoot me a DM, or on Facebook at YourMamaMentor, or on my email, which is probably the simplest, YourMamaMentor@gmail.com. I'll see you again soon, and thank you so much for joining me. Mwah.